Hello my beautiful friends, welcome. As promised, this is an infinite colony build video about Cloud account, which is a completely 100% free-to-play account that I created at the beginning of this year. So in this video we'll go through the layout of the build, the items, the skill tree, so you can maybe take reference for yourself of what kind of layout I'm using, what kind of items I'm using, how am I doing my skill tree, what kind of changes I have made since the previous parts of Cloud's journey, which you can find linked in the description, by the way, if you haven't seen those yet. But today we will be going through this and focusing on this infinite colony build, which you can see fighting over here. And I want to thank Camp Nickel, especially from the NVL Guild, for finally whipping me enough so that I managed to do some changes to my infinite colony build, because I have been quite lazy with this. Infinite colony build hasn't been on the top of my priority list, but this is the build currently. It's not perfect, but nothing ever really is. You can always get better items, you can always get maybe a bit better layout, you can always get more skill points and so on. But this is what I'm currently running with around 10x ratio of this account, around 700,000, a bit over 700,000 waves, which is pretty decent. I'm pretty satisfied about that ratio. You can maybe see the HP bar is going back and forth a little bit, so it's still a little bit work in progress, trying to find the balance between your setup and your items for the infinite colony. That's always a thing you have to do for yourself, depending on your layout and also what kind of items you have been able to get so far. So this is a completely free-to-play account. I don't have the 13 hero slot in here, but if you do have 13 hero slot, I would recommend you can take in, for example, Druid with +1 summoned unit items. You can get up to plus 15% defense for your castle, which is quite a lot of tankiness for you. Allows you to survive a lot longer than without Druid. I don't have room for Druid in this setup currently in here, but if you have the 13 slot, then you do so. Or you could use Chrono for increased game speed, because just like in Wave build when you're using time auto battle, just like in Infinite Colony as well, the time auto battle hours are based on the real life time. So if you have increased game speed, then you can clear the colonies faster, you can save a little bit of your time auto battle hour in that way. And also, for the same reason, try to use 3x game speed whenever you do Infinite Colony as well. So just like using time auto battles as we went through in the previous video, always use 3x game speed if you can, whenever you are using the time auto battle, which you can use in the Infinite Colony. Third option maybe for the 13 slot could be Dark Assassin, so you can apply the critical debuff to enemies, which can translate to a little bit more healing from your Dark Elf if she can critical hit the enemies. But if you do use the Dark Assassin, please do not put him in the 13 slot, put him a little bit closer to the enemy, so towards the right side of the castle if possible. But without any further delay, let's start by going through the build. And first of all, my skills are looking like this. So I have 4 CDEs in here, same as in my Wave build, and a couple of damage skills, a couple of defense skills. You'll see the items and what is on who in just one moment. At this point, it basically comes down to how many CD items you have been lucky enough to get at this point. But they are strong in Infinite Colony as well because of the cooldown reduction. My treasures look like this. So we have 2 defensive treasures, Unicorn Shield and Web, and then we have the Frozen Heart, so the frozen enemies will take more damage. This translates to more heal through your Dark Elf, which is the main healer you have in your Infinite Colony battles. You could also try, well, Red Potion in here for extra healing if your Dark Elf is not that leveled and you are more relying on stores for your healing, but this should be worth trying at least for you. Then we have Power Claw and the Cursed Knife for offensive treasures, and those are the best ones you can probably use. You can also try using the Flame Bow, in which case you wanna use probably the Sharp Arrow in here as well. But at that point you wanna run Solar instead of Zero as your leader. So this would be boosting the fire damage output of your cannons who are of fire type. So this also does work, but the Cursed Knife that I'm using is what works for me personally at least better. And before digging through the items, let's start with the skill tree, because this looks a little bit weird. Maybe it depends which skill tree you have seen in the past. So we are starting from the physical path, and this is solely for the purpose of your Dark Elf's healing capabilities. So you want to boost your Dark Elf's healing, and starting from the physical path, since she's physical hero, is the number one, the best option basically you can go for in your Infinite Colony build. So we have the full physical tree in here. There are some nodes that are maybe not as necessary. For example, these 2 nodes in here, they are kind of temporary. I will refund them once I'm able to reach something other worthwhile, once I get a couple of more points, but they are in here temporary for now. The strafe nodes and also the Archer Trio node are something you can also try leaving out if you need points elsewhere. My Dark Bowmaster is leveled, and she deals a decent amount of damage, so I have these nodes in here. But if you are not leveling Dark Bowmaster, Dark Lightning Archer, or if you don't want to rely on the damage output from that, you can also try without these nodes as well. But yeah, you will see my Dark Bowmaster items in just a bit. Otherwise, Dark Elf nodes in here for the healing purposes. And then, once we start going through the skill tree itself, we have of course the Town Archer section, so we can use items on the Town Cannons, which is super important. And then we go to the Ice Tree. The Pointed Point node gives you critical chance for all heroes when Dark Skeleton is cast, so this translates to more healing through your Dark Elf, because she will get more critical chance because of this node. And then of course we have the Frozen monster takes more damage, which again translates to more healing from your Dark Elf. We have more damage to slowed monsters, again translates to more healing from through your Dark Elf. So again, all of these help you with the healing, and also the increased frozen duration, which also again, yeah, translates to more healing basically. And then the interesting part in this build is that we are taking the shortcut in here. You are probably not really used to seeing these shortcuts being taken, because hey, they make you do less damage for ice heroes, for poison heroes, for summon heroes, for lightning heroes. But the thing about Infinite Colony in here is that 99% of the damage should be coming basically from the Town Cannons, and also then Dark Elf as your healer. So as long as you don't nerf either of those, you will be fine. And any of the negative nodes I have taken in here doesn't affect neither of them, so we are fine. As long as you don't take a shortcut from the physical tree itself, because at that point, you would be getting less healing from Dark Elf, so that would be counter-effective, so don't do that. But this is fine. So we can skip from the Ice Tree to the Poison Tree, get the Sword node in the Poison Tree, then we can skip to the Summon Tree and get the Sword node in the Summon Tree, and also get the Sword node in the Lightning Tree as well. All of these boost your Town Cannons damage as well, and also your Dark Elf, again, translating to more healing. And then, well, what else we have in here is the Witch node, gives you heroes more damage per witch. I have 2 witches in the build, so again, more healing from Dark Elf, and also more damage to stunned monsters. Yeah, more damage to stunned monsters means more healing from your Dark Elf potentially. The next step you could be going for is to go for the Fire Tree, so we can get the Sword node in the Fire Tree. And the Fire nodes do not reduce the damage of your Town Cannon, so don't worry about that part. But that's the skill tree. That's how it's going to look like at 106 points. And then the items. Again, the items are probably not perfect. They are work in progress, as they always are. You don't have to get exactly the same items, but you can use this as a reference of what kind of items you might want to get. The Town Cannons in here are using the exactly same items that I use for my Town Archers for waving. And this is probably the easiest way of going with your Town Cannons. Just switch the items that you use in your waving for your Town Archers to Town Cannons whenever you want to do the Infinite Colony. You could also use the Fire Critical Orb in here. I haven't purchased that one yet. I probably should. I've been slacking, like I said, a little bit. But those are the same items. Here you can use fire damage as well, but if you don't want to ruin another set of items, you can just use the same items on your Town Archers and your Town Cannons in here. Defender just has a CDE item and the Cursed Orb, so same thing that I'm running in my Way build. Dorothy is first crowd controller. Let's go through the crowd controllers right now, one by one. So Dorothy is running double stun slow in here, and stun +1 summon unit and CDE in here. Same items as I used in my Way build. Dorothy is pretty decent for that purpose. And then the second crowd controller in here would be Alice. And Alice is having 1 knockback and 1 slow line in the bow. And in the accessory, it's double stun. It's not actually even leveled. I forgot to level this. I was running a knockback item in here previously, but with 2 knockback lines on Alice, I started to lose the battles because I had too much knockback in my build. So you have to find the balance between knockback, stun, and slow. And if you have too much knockback, you probably will end up losing. So try to reduce, maybe switch some to stun lines if you are having too much knockback in your build. So that's why Alice is having that item, which I forgot to level up conveniently for some reason. And then third crowd controller, one of the most, well, important or iconic Infinite Colony crowd controller is Mechanigram. And just like in Alice, I have 1 knockback line in here, I have 1 slow line in here. And for the accessory, I have double stun and attack speed. Again, same thing. If I have another knockback line in here, I start to lose the battles because I have too much knockback. So find the balance, try to find the balance between your items, switch around and see what works for you the best. I have the orb of agility in here for faster attack speed for Mechanigram as well. We also do have a fourth crowd controller in here, who is the Ice Wizard. And Ice Wizard is just in double blocking range, so cooldown is less than Pure Wizard's cooldown currently. So these are just the items that I'm having here. Nothing else really matters. As long as he is in double blocking range, that is really solid crowd control for you. Then we have Dark Bowmaster, who is having the same bow that I have on my wave for my waving build, and then one CD item in here. This is usually on Zeus, but since Zeus is bad for Infinite Colony, I have it in here for Dark Bowmaster in here. And my Dark Bowmaster is leveled, so I'm using her to deal a little bit of damage to the Infinite Colony. That's why also she's placed on top of the row in here, at the very top on the right side, so that she could maybe hit the castle a little bit more instead of hitting the enemies throughout the run. So that would be like more effective, a little bit faster clears through that. If you don't have Dark Bowmaster leveled, or if you don't want to use her for damage, you can still use her. You can try crowd control items on Dark Bowmaster as well, but you definitely want to have Dark Bowmaster because of the Archer Trio buff, which is 200% attack speed for your Dark Elf, which again translates to more healing through your Dark Elf throughout your run. So absolutely necessary hero to have in your Infinite Colony setup. The rest are, well, stoves in here for healing. I have double cooldown items on both items in here. So double cooldown and double cooldown, the best things you can have for stoves. The second healer you have, also really important. And I have just a defense orb in here for a little bit more tankiness. And, well, the main healer we have in the build, so Dark Elf. +1 arrow being the best. I have decent items currently for my Dark Elf in here. So these are what I'm currently running. Could be better, eventually will be better, but these are what I have for now. And I have the Orb of Luck to boost crit chance, which again translates to more healing from your Dark Elf, which is really convenient. The rest 4 heroes, so Dark Skeleton and Dark Hunter and then Necromancer and Pure Wizard, they all have the same items that I have in my waving setup as well. Hunter is also, and Dark Skeleton are also both in double blocking range, because the cannons don't have haste buff, so you want to have a little bit more haste buff throughout the Dark Hunter also, if possible. But these are the same items that I use in my wave build currently. No changes in there, and you usually don't have any changes in there. You need these heroes, and you need the same items for Infinite Colony purposes as well. And finally, we have, well, Zero. Zero's purpose is just to slow monsters and also allow you to deal additional damage to slowed monsters, which again translates to more healing from your Dark Elf. So convenient for that. But if you use Solar, then you can maybe boost up your run time, make faster runs, but this gives you more healing, more survivability. That's why I'm running this one. The items I have is are really just, well, I just threw this in here for maybe extra slowed monsters, and then I have one CD line in here. None of these other lines matter. Gold damage line, even though it's on 0, it is completely useless. He's level 1000, he does absolutely 0 damage, he doesn't need to do any damage, so it's just convenient as slave hero for one CDE line for this setup. But yeah, that is the colony build currently, and I hope you can take reference from the items. Again, you can try something similar but a little bit different for yourself. Try to find the proper combination of stun, slow, knockback that works for you the best, and you really have to find the right combination for you yourself to use. And try to use the same, approximately same placements as I have here. Most importantly, Dark Elf should be placed down here for a little bit more healing from your Dark Elf, because she will be able to hit enemies a little bit more consistently. But yeah, that's the build, those are the items. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop a comment down below and tell me. I will try to give you a proper answer. I will get back to waving on Cloud Nacho and try to give you another update as soon as something worthwhile happens. So, thank you very much, see you next time, bye bye!